Wow, I can't believe you clicked on this video. Actually, I can. Hi, this is Ari in the Air. Welcome back to the channel. I'm stoked you're here. Today I want to tell you about one of the most common questions that I get when I tell people that I can fly for 7 hours in the air. It's one of my favorite things to do while paragliding, and it's one of my favorite kind of stories to tell. It's peeing in flight, peeing in paragliding. So today I want to tell you how to pee in flight, all the different ways. I'll tell you both, and you don't have to have a dick for this, okay? Ladies, I've got you covered as well. I'll tell you some of my best stories about peeing in flight, as well as I'll give you some solid tips to avoid peeing on your face like I do. Okay, you ready? Here we go! Okay, so if you are watching this, please consider becoming a patron on Patreon. It really enriches my life. I'm trying to transition away from just being a professional athlete who begs companies to pay me nickels and dimes and starting a model where I can actually be supported by the people who consume the content that enriches their lives. So let's start with how to pee in flight, all the different ways. Well, if you're in an open harness, it's a bit easier. And there's a couple ways. Let's start with the most obscure, but I have done this. I've gone into a riser twist and then just peed. You know, the air is going from back. It really just keeps it off you. It's really pretty clean. It's not a bad option. Obviously difficult to do in active air, and but it's fun. It's a good one. That's one of my favorites, actually. Sunset peeing, glassing off, twisted. The twisted pee. That's a good one. The next one is referred to as the Superman, and that's where you go between your risers and you just like totally lean out forward. And when you have a pod, you really want to get a hold of the pod so that you can pull it up out of the way so you don't just fill it with your own pee. And then you just basically kind of do a Superman starfishing thing and just let it go. For me, I've never done that one. I could never think of doing that. The thought of like being between my risers or in front of my risers just sounds disgusting. Especially if I'm like flying in active air. I mean, today I'm going to tell you one of the stories, the greatest paragliding accomplishment of my life. That's to come. Stay tuned. And the idea of being in front of my risers, just no, I don't do that. But it is possible. Another way that I've done is finding yourself a light climb. No, I'm going to save this one. I'm going to save this one for a story. Okay, I'll save this one. Another way is best known as peeing your pants. Just pee your pants. Most pilots that I know who have flown really far have ended up peeing their pants. Which just, if you're in flight and you really have to pee and you don't have the equipment set up, you just pee your pants. And it just, you know, you're going to have to rinse out your harness and wash your clothes. But peeing your pants is an option. Not the best one, but it's an option. I guess this brings me to like, why do we need to pee in the sky? Well, first of all, if you want to spend 7 hours in the sky, it's obvious. But even if you're only going to spend 3 hours, paragliding, as we know, is so cognitively demanding that like having something that is like gnawing at your biology, your like physiology, your like body is like holding on to something, it just takes away from your ability for your mind to really focus. So setting yourself up to be able to pee in flight is actually like for me, it's like a safety thing. And for me, it's like allows me to fly my best. So I really like the thought of peeing in flight is, it gives me warm and fuzzies. Okay, so how I pee in flight every time now, or I hope every time, most of the time, is with a condom catheter. Let me grab it. Okay. This little thing, ooh, this one's used. This one's used, and but this thing comes rolled up, and it's just like a condom, and you put it on just like that, except this condom will not stop pregnancy because it's got a big hole in it, and hopefully the hose isn't kinked. So I use this surgical tubing. It's stretchy, and I like it better than the clear tubing, because the clear tubing like just kind of has like a twist to it. And so, yeah, I like the surgical tubing. It stays where I put it. It only needs to be a little bit longer than your leg, or for me, pretty much like my knee down. Get it? Yeah, what do I say about this? So basically, you can buy this at your local hardware store. This is like a double barbed male, right? It's barbed on one side and it's barbed on the other. That's an important piece. Sometimes you can buy them in brass. That's weight that I don't need. And then you can buy these condom catheters off the internet. That's the cheapest. If you buy them a box of 100, they're going to be like $1.50 a piece. If you buy them one at a time at a medical supply store, they can run you almost as much as $3 a piece. Always when you go in to the medical supply store, there's going to be an innocent old lady working at the counter, and you're going to ask her for condom catheters. She's going to ask you what size. At this point, you basically have a fork in your life, really. And you can go one of two directions. You can either say extra, 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 extra large, which is the predominant joke that will come up in most males. But it's really pretty bold to go with the extra, extra, extra small joke. It's very self-deprecating, and I think the old lady will find that endearing. You're going to have to test this out for yourself. Each old lady at the medical supply store is different. So, but what happened for me the first time I went in, I said, I don't know. And she literally hands me this like piece of paper. It's like kind of like a tack board piece of paper that has like these different like half circles cut out of them. And it's a fucking sizing guide. And you go into the bathroom and you put these little fucking things onto your dick to see which size dick you have, which is just humiliating. Because you've already made this XXXL joke to her, and then you come out and you're like, I'll take the smallest size and 20 of them. So, like I said, going in the medical supply store for these is really a choice point in your life. Who do you want to be? Who do you want to be? Man, God, if I could only go back. No, I do go back. Now they know me, and unfortunately, the ruse is up here at the local Norco. So, but that's what you'll need to buy. For the ladies out there, your best option, unfortunately, or fortunately, is a diaper. And you have another choice point here. People ask, once I tell them about the condom catheter, they say, well, how do the women pee in the air? And I say, depends. But it turns out that I've seen this on the internet, and maybe one of you Europeans will source this and give it a try. There's like a little, you've ever heard of like the shiwi, which is like a little external cup that ladies can pee into so that they can pee standing up. It was kind of developed, I think, especially around here for like kayakers who wear a dry suit, and the dry suits only have like a male access zipper that like doesn't allow ladies to squat down. So they use these like Shiwis, but this is kind of like a little smaller Shiwi that almost has like a little positive flange that kind of like indexes in their biology so that it can like, they can like sit with it. And then it has a tube. I think it was developed for sailplane pilots. I've seen it around on the internet. You guys should find it, post it so that I can feature it so that maybe the lady paragliders, because honestly, I feel bad for the ladies that they have to wear a diaper, but my friends that have used them a lot say that they're actually not that bad, so maybe I just am conditioned to feel guilty about my male privilege. Possible. Okay, that's what you'll need to buy. And I'm going to give you one tip about these condom catheters so you can avoid peeing on your face. Like I have. The amount of times I've peed on my face in paragliding is like at least 5. At least 5. So I'll tell you a couple of those stories. And I'm also going to tell you my greatest paragliding accomplishment ever, which was earlier this spring. So, unfortunately, I am cheap. And I have learned how to reuse these things. So basically when I take it off, I just roll it back up as carefully as I can. I try to keep it clean. And then there's these, you can buy what's like a skin prep wipe that what it ends up doing is it kind of cleans your skin, and it also like provides a layer that the adhesive that's in the condom catheter adheres onto. So when you pull it off, it's not pulling directly on your skin, and it kind of releases it better, but it also sticks on better. I bought this brand called Skin Tack. Don't buy the brand. It's essentially glue, and it glues the thing to your cock, which if you're cheap and you're trying to reuse them, it works great. Like it'll definitely stick it onto your dick, but a bit painful to peel it off. So most stories that I have of peeing on my own face or peeing in flight disasters start with me reusing a condom catheter. So I'm trying, like if you would just support me on Patreon, literally I would stop having to reuse condom catheters, because you know the $3 a piece is like, if you give me just $5 a month on Patreon, I can buy at least 1.5 condom catheters per month with your donation. That would be very helpful. But so I'm flying and I've urinated once and I kind of have to go again. And so one tip with the condom catheters is basically before I pee each time, I grab the hose and I kind of want to like pull on it to make sure that it's not kinked and that it's still on me. And the moment of disaster happens when you grab the hose and you pull on it to make sure it's not kinked, and you're just like, you have the condom catheter in your hand and you're like, no, fuck. And obviously, like, you only pull on the thing when you're like ready to pee. So now it's like you have to pee, and now you're in the situation where you don't have a condom catheter on. So what I've done, these are some of my greatest stories. Twice, 2 different flights. One I flew back to Bend from Pine Mountain. One I flew all the way to John Day, my furthest flight from Pine Mountain ever. And the thing comes off mid-flight, and god damn it. What I do is I find myself a light climb. Like I'm looking for like a 1.5. Okay, anything more than that's a little bit too rowdy for this. And basically I'll just like completely and totally weight shift myself over so that the glider is just naturally kind of staying in this climb. And I'll do a couple revolutions just to make sure that I'm kind of in it. Then what I do is totally, when you're in a pod harness, you have to completely and totally undo your flight deck and like open your pod completely. And then you basically like lean your hips up and out of your harness as much as you can. You get a hold of your cock. You just like grab it by the back of the neck and you torture the poor damn thing out of the side of your harness. At which point you're just like looking at it and you're like, pee, damn it, pee. And your dick's like, I can't pee like this. It's too much pressure. And it's like, you really have to force it out. And peeing in the sky and in weird conditions, and this is just not how it should work, but you force it to work, and what ends up happening is you're in a 1.5 meter a second climb. So as the pee, if you're lucky, is clearing your harness for the most part, it's in a climb, so it's gonna come up onto you, and That's fine, because at least I'm peeing. Also, at least a third of your pee is going to go on your harness, which is better than 3/3. I don't know. That's how I've done it. But let me just tell you the story of the greatest paragliding accomplishment of my life, which was only a couple months ago. I'm on the Xeno, right? I got like 50 hours on a 2-liner, and so I got the Xeno, and I'm in this new exo seat harness, which is this huge comp thing. It's like a fucking sailboat. It's got a 3-foot fairing on it, and of course, 4.5 hours into my flight, I go to take a pee, stretch out the tube, and again, bang, got the fucking condom catheter in my hand. God damn it. So what do? Immediately, I'm frustrated and I'm flying, so I take the condom catheter and I stuff it into my snack pocket. Obviously where it should go. Then, when I decide that it's just time, I have to pee, I don't care what happens in my glider, so I just let go of the glider. I undo the whole fucking pod on my flight deck, and now I've got my flight deck, which has got 4 liters of water, and my cell phone, and my fucking Vario, and all this shit, and it's just hanging off at the side of my harness. And I go to do this old trick of just like, popping my hips up and torturing my dick. And the thing about the comp harnesses is they have these big bars that come off of the seat board to hold the flight deck up off of your lap. And so I'm just like doing the calculations, and I'm just like, it's not, that's just, the math doesn't add up here, unfortunately. I don't know, maybe your dick is so long that you can just flop it over the side of your harness, and good for you, that sounds so easy. But it's not the case. I go in there with the XXXXXS, and the old lady laughs, and I get the condom catheters, and I go away. But on this particular day, I knew that wasn't going to work. I thought about the Superman technique. I knew that was not going to happen, especially flying the fucking 2-liner. God. I mean, if I'm sitting in my harness and take a collapse, I mean, show me your best. But if I'm like forward splayed out and taking a collapse on a 2-liner, God, no. I just have a hard stop on that. So what do? I say, you know what? The only way to work this out is to do something new here. I pull the condom catheter back out of the snack pack. It's covered in crumbs. I dust it off. Like the fucking thing is like stuck to itself. So there I am in flight. I'm trying to peel it open. I'm trying to open it back up. I'm fucking, oh God, I broke it. I'm trying to be as delicate with it as I can. I roll it back up. I basically just like stuff my dick into it. Just try to get as much of it rolled onto it as possible. And there I basically hold my dick with the condom catheter on it. And I just, please, and I'm peeing, and it's coming out of the end of the hose. In this moment, I was moved to tears. I literally had a tear come out of my eye. I had to pee so bad, and it was working, and I was gonna continue on my flight. I flew for 6 hours, 6 minutes that day, with what is likely the longest out and back ever done at Pine Mountain. My greatest paragliding accomplishment ever, putting a condom catheter back on in flight. I don't recommend it. Use a new condom catheter. Put it on well. A couple tips here, just to avoid peeing on your face. One is when you put on the condom catheter, I know it sounds kind of weird, but like, basically the reason that it will come off is if you got a bunch of dead skin on your dick. So, just like any good porn star, you just kind of fluff yourself. It's not to get yourself hard. You just take your t-shirt and you just kind of wipe the excess dead skin off of your dick. You're going to be surprised at how much dead skin is on your dick, okay? This is where we are in this YouTube channel, right? This is where we've gone. Fuck it. Next is, if you fly and you're wearing pants inside of your pod, then the condom catheter has to go all the way out the end of your pant leg. Meaning that when you need to pee, you basically have to take your leg out of the pod to pee, which is fine, and it works great. But since your condom catheter is sealed at the top, the entire hose will be full of pee and you can't empty it. So there's a couple things you can do. One, you shake your leg as best you can, but basically when you go to put your foot back in your pod, the end of the hose is going to go and let out a couple drops right in front of the airstream that's going to take it right under your face. which is pretty endearing. I mean, peeing on your face a little bit, it's like it's part of cross-country paragliding, all right? Welcome to the game. You've made it. If you're peeing on your face, you're having a good fucking day because you've been up there a while and you're going to be up there a while longer, right? I mean, it's the best type of peeing on your own face. Really, and it's kind of endearing to me. Honestly, I'm not even mad about it. Not even as I look back. It's type 2 fun. It's type 2 fun. So what you can do is you can poke a hole in your pants and like sew around it so it doesn't come just open up into a giant hole. And you can run the tube through that. Then you take the tube and you put it through, you can make a hole in your pod and you put it through that as well. Like the new Empress 4 has its like own little like routing for the relief tube. But I just have a hole in the side of my pod that I just stick the tube through. Because basically, especially if you're wearing shorts and the tube is loose in your pod, if you just let it be loose in your pod, you're gonna go to step on your fucking speed bar and you're gonna go, wow! Because you're gonna get the tube stuck between your foot and the speed bar and you're gonna extend it and try to tug this thing off your dick. It's not good. So, other tips on that. There's another thing you can do is where you kind of like grab the tube and you pinch it right in front of your dick and then you squeeze the pee out of it to the far end and yeah, you've basically cleared the tube. But now you've created a vacuum in the tube. And so what you do next is of critical import. If you let go of the tube end, then it just fills the tube back up with air. If you let go of the dick end, it will try to suck your dick into the tube, which is a very interesting experience. Maybe I recommend it. Maybe I don't know. Maybe you'll do it on accident. It's hilarious. Post in the comments below if you've done that. I don't know, folks. That's my peeing and paragliding shtick. Those are my stories. That's my greatest paragliding accomplishment of all time. If you've watched this far in the cock pee video, please consider subscribing to the channel and supporting me on Patreon. It's only $5 a month. I have 5,000 subscribers. If I could just get a small portion of you guys to support me on Patreon, it would really enrich my life and keep this whole thing going. I have much more important things to talk about, but this one is one of my favorites. I'm so glad I got this video out, okay? Thanks so much for watching. Check out my podcast, Airy in the Air. It's on all platforms. We'll see you on the next episode, my kooky paraglide friends. See you.